There's a phrase that gets thrown around a lot in the homesteading world: self-sufficient. I want to be self-sufficient. I want to live off the land. I want to do it all myself. And hear me out. There is beauty in learning to work with your own hands. There is goodness in providing for your family. But this idea that we can do life alone, that we could be completely independent, is a lie. You didn't build the roads you drive on. You didn't forge the steel that built your truck. You didn't invent the tools you use. Even the ideas in your head, freedom, dignity, family, faith, those were handed down to you by the people who came before. We are not self-made, we are formed. And for nearly all of human history, we understood that. We lived in villages. We raised children with neighbors. We worked the land together. If your barn needed to be fixed, you didn't call a contractor. You called your community. And they showed up because they knew you'd show up for them. But today, we are the most lonely generation in history. We scroll through videos of people we think we know while barely knowing the people who live 50 feet from our front door. We are connected to thousands and bonded to no one. We were told that individualism is freedom, but look around. Does anyone seem free, or do we look exhausted, isolated, anxious, and overwhelmed? God did not create us to live in isolation. He said it is not good that man should be alone. And yet, here we are, alone in our neighborhoods, alone in our marriages, alone in our thoughts, raising families with no village, no elders, no shared work, no shared life. But let me be clear about something, because this part matters. There's a quote by Thomas Sowell that has stuck with me throughout the years. He said, Hillary Clinton said it takes a village to raise a child. And someone replied that it takes a village idiot to believe that, because it leads to third parties wanting to make decisions for which they pay no price when they're wrong. There's a warning in there. Yes, we need each other. Yes, a community makes us stronger. Yes, no man can do everything alone. But there are things that cannot be outsourced. Things must remain your responsibility. It's the man's duty to lead the household. It's the parents' calling to raise their children. It's your job to uphold your values, your work, your word. Community is not a replacement for responsibility. It is the framework that responsibility lives within. Because when you hand off the things that are yours to carry, whether out of convenience or exhaustion or fear, something inside you withers. And the thing is, when you give your responsibilities away, no one else will ever hold them with the same care you would. And when they make a mistake, you're still the one who pays the price. So the community should support the individual, but it should never erase him. A healthy community doesn't replace fathers, it strengthens them. A healthy community doesn't raise your children for you. It stands beside you as you raise them. And that is the kind of village we've lost, and the kind we need to rebuild. And this is where homesteading matters. Not because it makes you self-sufficient, but because it forces you to rediscover interdependence. You can't homestead alone. You need your neighbor to help with the fence. Your neighbor needs you when troubles arise. The land teaches us something that modern world wants us to forget. We need each other. And yes, community is harder today. It requires reaching out when you're tired. It requires learning to disagree without walking away. It requires slowing down long enough to look someone in the eye instead of assuming their entire worldview from a screen. But you were not designed for this isolated, individualistic life. Your kids were not meant to grow up being taught by strangers and raised by screens. Your marriage was not meant to be starved of time and presence. You were made for a village. We don't need millions of followers. We need neighbors. Rebuild the village. Even if it starts with one family at a time, even if it's just you knocking on one door, even if it's small, because small is how every revival begins. Come on, buddy. Come on.